So I heard rumours the last few months about people, particularly from other countries, coming over here can vote in the local authority elections. And I just wanted to say the Grip Media first off. Grip Media asked the Minister for Housing, Darragh O'Brien, about people voting in the local authority elections, which you know are next year for all of Ireland at the moment. No, well, not obviously Northern Ireland, but the Republic of Ireland. So generally the local authority elections, as you say in Cavan, there's three municipal authorities people can vote for the local councillor or whatever. But generally, now people from Ukraine and other countries can vote in the local authority elections. Now, obviously, as you know, you have to be a citizen first to vote in any election, either be local authority elections, probably the European elections. You could say they could vote. They can vote for a European election because technically they could. I'm not really have an issue with that if they want to vote for the European Parliament, which is next year too. European Parliament elections. So they can vote for that. I don't mind that. But there's more the local authority elections than Dáil Éireann because they will let them, let's be fair. If they let them do it for the local authority, they will let them do it for Dáil Éireann. As you know, just off topic, there's 20 new TDs supposed to be going into Dáil Éireann next session of the Dáil. No, not next session, but the next vote, the next election, general election, sorry. So, first of all, I do have a big issue with people that are not Irish citizens voting because, let's be fair, they would just vote for anybody who says they're going to give them something for free. And that shouldn't be the case. And as you know, the majority of these people are not paying tax in the country, are not working. And, you know, as I say, unless you're an Irish citizen, you should not have the right to vote in Ireland. Because let's be fair, if we went over to their country and demanded the right to vote, I think they'd tell you to go home very quickly. Because they wouldn't let you come over and just be there 5 minutes and say, I have the right to vote. Because you have to be there for years before you earn the right to vote. Because again, it's all about earning the right. You know, as an Irish citizen too, you generally have a born written right. But say, for example, if I left in the morning to go off to, I don't know, New Zealand, right, or Australia, or Canada, right, let's take, for example, I can't just expect to be there 5 minutes, 2 months, 3 months, 5 months, a year at most, and say I want the right to vote in the Canadian general election. They tell me, fuck off. You're just here on a work permit. Who gives a shit about you? You're not a Canadian citizen. Who gives a shit? They were saying, come back in a decade, maybe, or 5 years, right? And then we give you you can apply for Canadian citizenship, or a joint Irish Canadian visa, right? You can get 2 double visas, right? And you can be like, yeah, I'm a Canadian citizen. I have a right. I work here. I have a work permit. I work here the last 5 years, right? I have a right to. I live here in Canada and things like that. I have the right to vote. Just as an example. And then you could be like, yeah, he's here 5 years, or he's here 10 years. He has the right to vote. But anything like over just under a year or a few months, people shouldn't have the right to vote. Because let's be fair, the government, Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael will just bring in a load of people in the last minute and be like, here's about, I don't know, 10,000 people. We're going to put them into places where people, Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael are in a bit of trouble. We're going to send them into that area, Cavan and things like that. So, vote for Fianna Fáil, councillor, TD, and, we send in a few there. It swing the vote, as they say. But, let's be fair, that's what's going to happen. It's in complete insanity if we let that happen. Because it really just makes a shambles of democracy. Because, it's up to the people of the nation to decide who represents them. Because again, it is Ireland after all. But as I say, that's just my opinion. I know people might disagree with me. People say everybody has the right to vote and things like that. But in my general opinion, unless you're here probably for 5 years or so, and you've worked in Ireland, had a work visa and stuff like that, generally, maybe then you could think about after 5 years. But I don't agree after just a year or a few months here that people should have the right to vote, unless you have Irish citizenship. I think it's 5 years. I don't know how long it is until you can get Irish citizenship. But however long it is, that should be when you're allowed to vote, when you get Irish citizenship. As I said, the European Parliament's a different kettle of fish. As you know, any country that's in the EU, if somebody from the Netherlands comes over here, right, and stays in Ireland, works as a work visa in Ireland, I have no problem with them voting for the European election because they're part of the European Union. But I do have a problem with them voting for the local authority election. That's why I have a problem with. So I don't mind the European election. They can vote to the heart's content in the European election. But it does generally matter for the local authority election. For people that, it's up to the people of their own area to decide who they vote for. It shouldn't be up to somebody that's only here 5 minutes, folks. Again, more or less that's what Darrell O'Brien says. Everybody's entitled to the democracy, But I don't know if we went over to Ukraine now would Zelensky let us vote, because generally we might not vote for Zelensky and that might not go well for him. But take for example, that's what could happen. So I don't think any other country need to let them do it. I don't think many countries in Europe will let anybody vote in their own democratic elections unless they're a citizen of their country. So that's just my opinion. Thank you.